How's it going, everybody? This is Robbie One Kenobi, and I'm here to bring you my Lucha Underground Ultima Lucha Dos review. Right off the bat, guys, this show was awesome. And right now, I'm calling it. This show is so far the best wrestling show of the year. It was just an awesome show from start to finish. And just like last year's Ultima Lucha, they aired this event in separate parts. So whereas last year Ultima Lucha 1 aired in 2 parts, Ultima Lucha Dos aired in 3 parts. And honestly, guys, they did it because this show was bigger and better than last year's Ultima Lucha. Last year's Ultima Lucha was a great show, but this year I feel like they topped it. I feel like they raised the bar. It was just an awesome show from start to finish. So let's get right down to my review. So night 1 was completely dedicated to the For a Unique Opportunity tournament. And before the 3 matches in this tournament, Dario Cueto came out and he would announce what the special stipulation for each match was. So the first match in the tournament, the first semifinal match, was Cage versus the Mac. Ironically, these guys kicked off last year's Ultima Lucha in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And ironically, they kicked off this year's Ultima Lucha with another Falls Count Anywhere match. So it's ironic, but it's also fitting that they kicked off this show with a Falls Count Anywhere match. And this was a great opener, guys. I feel like they topped last year's Falls Count Anywhere match with this one. This was more brutal, crazier spots from the start. Early on, Cage hit a Lionsault, which I was impressed with because, of course, when you look at Cage's physique and his frame, he's quite a big guy. But I was surprised with how agile, I should say, he hit that Lionsault. Mac rebounded with an Exploder suplex, and then they started getting hardcore. Mac smashed a trash lid over Cage's head. He then hit a running power slam onto the trash can. Cage and Mac then brawled inside Dario Cueto's office, and Dario Cueto loved it because he is, I don't know if proprietor is the correct word, but he just loves violence. He feeds off violence. I guess you could say it that way. And he loved seeing these 2 guys just fight in his office. When they got to the outside, Cage grabbed a framed Lucha Underground poster and smashed it over Mac's head, which I believe busted Mac open. Even though it wasn't a bad cut, I did see some blood. Mac then powerbombed Cage, or let me reverse that. Cage powerbombed Mac through 2 chairs. Mac got back up, hit a Samoan drop on Cage onto a stop sign, and then hit a nice standing moonsault. And it's the same thing with Willie Mack. When you look at Willie Mack's frame and his height, you'd be a little surprised at how agile he is, but he's a great performer. Mac then took a guitar, which was pretty much painted with the Mexican flag all over it. So a Mexican flag themed guitar, and went a little Jeff Jarrett on Cage and smashed it over Cage's head. Mac then grabbed a wrench and he whacked Cage with it twice. Like I said, guys, this match was just barbaric. Well, not barbaric, but it was crazy. It was more brutal than last year. Mac did his best Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonation. I believe he drank some beers and flipped Cage off and went for the stunner. But Cage countered with a stop. He pushed Mac out of the way and then cracked him with a stop sign shot. Mac then wrapped a chain around his fist and he clocked Cage with it, then hit the Mac stunner, and then came the spot. This spot I honestly thought was going to end the match right here. Mac pulled out a table. He put Cage on a table. Then he walked through the Believers. He, I guess, took the stairs up to the crowd where the Believers are sitting, and then he got on the railing and did a frog splash, which was sick. For the closest near fall of the match, I honestly thought this match was over at that point, but Cage kicked out. Cage then rebounded and went for the same curb stomp that he beat Mac with, the one where he drove Mac's face through the cinder block. But because of the beer that Mac was drinking earlier, there was some that spilled on the floor, and Cage lost his balance. He briefly slipped, and Mac managed to roll Cage up for the win. Mac advances into the For a Unique Opportunity tournament. Just a great opener, guys. These guys really topped their Falls Count Anywhere match from last year. 4 stars. Now, always, my match ratings are down below in the description box. Next, we had the second semifinal match, which was Son of Havoc versus Tejano in a Boyle Heights bar fight. And this was a good, fun match with some crazy, crazy spots involving glass and Tejano's body. Let me put it to you like that. Havoc hit a springboard moonsault to the outside early on. He then hit a moonsault off the announcer's table. He then went into Dario Cueto's office. I believe this was inside Dario Cueto's office. I could be wrong. But he brought out a fire extinguisher and a fireman's helmet. He put on the helmet and he sprayed Tejano with the fire extinguisher. Tejano started fighting back, grabbed one of the beer bottles, smashed it over Havoc's head, but it had no effect because Havoc was wearing the fireman's helmet. Tejano then grabbed his bull rope, wrapped it around his fist, and clocked Havoc a couple of times. Havoc hit a Hurricane Rana off the top rope through these bar stools. So basically, Havoc took some broken bar stools. He laid them out on the mat. Then he put positioned Tejano on the top rope and did a Hurricane Rana 6-6 spot. Havoc then backdropped Tejano through the bar bottles that were positioned on the outside. Havoc then grabbed some glass bottles and smashed them with his foot, and then put Tejano through him with a double foot stomp, and Havoc then hit a running bike kick for the win. So Havoc advances in the tournament. The finals are ultimately set. Mac versus Son of Havoc in the For a Unique Opportunity Tournament finals. Kudos to Tejano for taking the bumps he took in this match. I mean, these spots were no joke. I mean, they were using real glass bottles, real glass. It was crazy. So kudos to Tejano for taking the bumps that he did. But like I said, Havoc advanced. I was about to say advanced into the tournament. So the main event. Well, not the main event, but the finals of the tournament. Mac versus Son of Havoc in another Falls Count Anywhere match, because before the match began, like I said, Dario Cueto came out and said, you two guys are going to have to really fight hard and really work hard to earn this very special, unique opportunity. So guess what? I'm making it another Falls Count Anywhere match. This was a good match, but it really wasn't a Falls Count Anywhere match. The only time they really fought anywhere in the temple was in the crowd, and it was for like maybe a minute or two. Most of the match took place inside the ring. It was, like I said, a good, fun match, but it could have been better. I was expecting a little more because it was a Falls Count Anywhere match. I was expecting them to try to top the match with Cage and Mac, but in the end, Son of Havoc hit a cartwheel moonsault to the outside. Before that, Mac hit this really nice-looking Sister Abigail from the middle rope. Mac countered the patented shooting star press with his knees and managed to roll Son of Havoc up with a small package for a very close 2 count. In the end, Son of Havoc hit his patented cartwheel elbow, followed by the shooting star press to score the 1-2-3, and Son of Havoc wins the For a Unique Opportunity tournament. So with that said, Dario Cueto comes out along with Black Lotus, and they each have a briefcase in their hand. Dario Cueto tells Son of Havoc that in one briefcase is $250,000, which is more money than you've probably ever seen. And then in the other briefcase is a guaranteed title shot, a contract for a guaranteed Lucha Underground Championship match at Ultima Lucha 3. And Son of Havoc says, you know what? I don't care how much money you offer me. I'm not giving up. I'm not letting that opportunity go. He takes the briefcase with the Lucha Underground Championship title match guaranteed, and Dario Cueto congratulates him and says, Son of Havoc, you will be in the main event of Ultima Lucha 3 next year, competing for the Lucha Underground Championship, as long as you defeat one more opponent, just like he has done in the past. In vintage Dario Cueto fashion, like the dick that he is, he has to spoil Son of Havoc's celebration by saying he must beat one more wrestler to guarantee his spot in the Ultima Lucha 3 main event. So, Son of Havoc awaits his opponent, and out comes Famous B. And if you don't know the number by now, it's 423, get fame. So Famous B comes out and he says, Son of Havoc, you look a little sick there. Well, guess what? There's a doctor in the house. And he turns around, and emblemed, emblazoned on his jacket is the face of a masked luchador named Dr. Wagner Jr. Now, I do not know a lot about him other than what Vampiro said, that he's a renowned luchador who has quite a mean streak. He's been in the business for, I think, 30 years or so, they said. And this was basically a squash match, guys. I didn't give it a rating because it only went, I think, like 2 minutes. Mainly, Dr. Wagner Jr. came out, and he pretty much beat down and dominated Son of Havoc. But Son of Havoc did get some offense, and he did start to make a comeback, and it made you think, is Son of Havoc going to maybe pull this, I don't want to say miracle off, but is he going to pull it off? Is he going to beat Dr. Wagner Jr. and retain his Ultima Lucha 3 main event spot? You know, he hit his cartwheel elbow in the corner. He hit the bicycle kick. He missed the shooting star press, however, and that allowed Dr. Wagner to hit the Doctor Driver to score the 1-2-3 and to ultimately crush Son of Havoc's dreams of a Lucha Underground Championship main event spot at Ultima Lucha 3. So for beating Son of Havoc, Dr. Wagner Jr. gets the $250,000 that Son of Havoc then rejected. And Famous B and Brendo ran into the ring, and they started celebrating, and Famous B was pretty much saying they're rich. They're rich. So pretty shitty way for Son of Havoc to end his night after winning his 2 matches. He fought hard to win those matches. It looked like he was going to beat Dr. Wagner Jr., but in the end, Dario Cueto pretty much got what he wanted, if I could say that, and Dr. Wagner Jr. spoiled Son of Havoc's tournament win and ultimately spoiled his chances to be in the main event of Ultima Lucha 3. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this feud goes, because even though I didn't do a predictions video, I predicted Son of Havoc would win the tournament because I see him being like one of Lucha Underground's next big breakout stars, and I could see him winning the Lucha Underground Championship in the future. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes down in Season 3, but great tournament, great way to start the season finale, great way to kick off Ultima Lucha 2, and I remember saying to myself, if this was just night 1, and night 1 was this great, I can only imagine how great, how awesome nights 2 and 3 were going to be. Excuse me. And with that said, guys, we move on to night 2. Night 2 only featured 2 matches, and you'll understand why when I get through the first match. So, the opener, the 7-way match, the 7-way elimination match for the Gift of the Gods Championship. Sexy Star versus Mariposa versus Marty the Moth versus Killshot versus Daga versus Sinestro de la Muerte versus the debuting Nightclaw. And Nightclaw in this match, guys, was the straight-up MVP. I mean, I've never seen him before. I don't know who he is under that mask, but he is awesome. He hit a 619 on Daga early on in the match. Sinestro de la Muerte hit Nightclaw with this nice AJ Styles-like springboard into a reverse suplex. But moments later, I should say, Nightclaw eliminated Sinestro with, I'm going to call it a flipping rock bottom. Like, basically, he had Sinestro positioned for a rock bottom, and then he did the flip, and it's like a slam. So I just call it the flipping rock bottom, the flipping suplex slam, whatever you want to call it. But Sinestro de la Muerte was the first eliminated in the match. Sexy Star hit a nice corkscrew from the top rope onto her opponents on the outside. Killshot followed that up with an Adrian Neville-style moonsault over the top rope. Marty the Moth then followed that up with a senton over the top rope. Back in the ring, Nightclaw and Daga and Marty the Moth mixed it up. Daga got Marty the Moth in a guillotine choke, which Nightclaw broke up with a top rope leg drop. Nightclaw then hit a top rope Frankensteiner, followed by a Phoenix Splash onto Daga to eliminate him. And then came undoubtedly the best spot in this match, and this is why I called Nightclaw the freaking, aside from all the other spots he hit in this match, this is why I called him the MVP of this match. While the other 4 competitors are mixing it outside in the ring, while they're duking it outside the ring, Nightclaw ascends to the top of Dario Cueto's office and hits a moonsault from the top of the office onto all other 4 competitors. It was crazy. It was a holy shit moment. It was just awesome. Going back into the ring, Killshot and Mariposa mixed it up on the apron, and Killshot drilled Mariposa with a nice Death Valley driver. Nightclaw then mixed it up with, I almost called him Phoenix. Nightclaw mixed it up with Killshot for a little bit inside the ring. He missed the Phoenix Splash on Killshot, and Killshot then drilled Nightclaw with the Cradle Driver to eliminate him. So all good things come to an end. But Nightclaw didn't go out like a chump. He went out like a true MVP. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what he has to offer in Season 3. The final four came down to Killshot, Sexy Star, Marty the Moth, and Mariposa, and it was very fitting considering the history these four have against each other. Killshot and Sexy Star did some nice double team work against Marty and Mariposa. Killshot threw Sexy Star onto one of them to do a Hurricane Rana, and then he helped Sexy Star walk the ropes and perform a dive to the outside. Mariposa and Killshot mixed it up in the ring. Mariposa hit a sunset flip powerbomb. Marty followed it up with a curb stomp, and then Mariposa eliminated Killshot with the butterfly effect. So it came down to the Twisted Sister and Brother versus Sexy Star. And Marty attempted to clock Sexy Star with a spinning haymaker while Mariposa was holding her, but Sexy ducked and Marty inadvertently clocked Mariposa, which allowed Sexy Star to kick Marty out of the ring and get the pin, to eliminate Mariposa. And the final two came down to Sexy Star and Marty the Moth. And how fitting was it? Like I said, considering Marty's history with Sexy Star, considering that he kidnapped her and tortured her throughout most of season 2, it came down to these two. The believers were chanting, "Kill the Moth." Marty laid out Sexy Star with that spinning haymaker that he intended to lay her out with earlier, that inadvertently laid out his sister. And I thought Sexy Star was pretty much done there, but Sexy Star fought back resiliently. Sexy Star fought back, and she forced Marty the Moth to tap out to a cross arm breaker. Sexy Star is your new Gift of the Gods champion, and she is the first ever female Gift of the Gods champion, once again embodying why she is one of the best female wrestlers out there, why she is probably the Bayley, I could say, of Lucha Underground. Well-respected, well-renowned, well-loved. Congratulations to Sexy Star, and a fitting way for her to end the season. That's redemption, vindication, you could say, for everything that Marty and Mariposa put her through. She eliminated them both, and now she is the Gift of the Gods champion, which gives her the right to challenge the Lucha Underground champion whenever she wants, as long as she announces it a week in advance. 4 stars. Great opener, lots of great spots, and like I said, Nightclaw was the freaking MVP of this match. Definitely looking forward to seeing what he has in store for Season 3, because Lucha Underground is coming back for Season 3. And if you remember my last review, when I reviewed Ultima Lucha 1, I said they deserve to come back for Season 2. They're definitely coming back for Season 3. So 4 stars, great Gift of the Gods championship match. And then we move on, guys, to the main event of Night 2, which was Mil Muertes with Catrina versus King Cuerno in a death match. And I know the Lex Man didn't really like this match that much. I thought this match was awesome. I thought it was brutal. I thought it was the best match of Night 2. Not the match of the night, but in my opinion, the second best match of the entire show. Early on, King Cuerno hit his arrow from the depths of hell. He went for it again, but Mil countered with a forearm and then dragged Cuerno's body to the outside and drilled him with a TKO. Mil and King Cuerno ended up fighting amongst the believers, and Cuerno hit a dive from the top onto the floor. They then brawled some more amongst the believers and then took the fight to the stage where the bands on Lucha Underground perform. Mil grabbed the microphone and clocked Cuerno with it. And I honestly thought he was going to say something when he took the mic. I thought he would have said something really cool, but he didn't. No problem there. He still clocked Cuerno with the mic. Cuerno then knocked, not Cuerno. Well, yeah, Cuerno did get knocked off of the stage. Basically, he got kicked and he rolled off, and he was hanging on to the edge with one hand, and Mil was stomping on the hand, and Cuerno fell. He didn't fall far because it was a real short distance from the musical stage to the floor. Cuerno then pushed Catrina out of the way and grabbed a trash can and landed 2 shots on Mil Muertes. Mil and King Cuerno then fought up all the way up the stairs, and King Cuerno threw Mil Muertes face first into one of the windows. But Mil Muertes, like that badass man of 1,000 deaths that he is, shook that shit off, looked at King Cuerno like, yeah, you didn't faze me, bitch, beat him up and threw him head first through the window, which busted King Cuerno open. They then continued fighting down the stairs. Cuerno countered Mil's powerbomb attempt with a nice tornado DDT. So basically, he got Mil in position, and he used the walls of the temple. He used his feet off to kick himself off. Not kick himself off, but he used the walls of the temple for leverage as he ran up the walls and hit a nice tornado DDT. Mil then speared King Cuerno through a table. And then, keep this in mind, there were other tables. There were like a bunch of tables set up outside the ring throughout this match. So King Cuerno gets speared through one table by Mil Muertes. Mil Muertes picks up King Cuerno, and he takes him to one table, and he powerbombs him through it. Then he picks King Cuerno up again, takes him to another table, powerbombs him through that one. Picks him up one more time, takes him to the third and final table, and power bombs him through there. So King Cuerno pretty much got his ass kicked this entire match. They return to the ring. Well, Mil pretty much throws Cuerno's broken, lifeless body into the ring, grabs a crowbar, cracks it over King Cuerno's head, and drills him with a tombstone pile driver for the win. And how fitting is it that King Cuerno, Mil Muertes, in a death match, uses a tombstone to finish off his opponent? Because who's the other guy? The other famous professional wrestler who uses a tombstone to finish his opponents off. You know who I'm talking about. After that, Catrina added insult to injury with her famous lick of death. And that was pretty much it. That ended night 2 of Ultima Lucha 2. 4.5 stars for that match. Great match, in my opinion. Awesome death match. Mil Muertes standing tall over King Cuerno. King Cuerno, the hunter, he hunted death. He had this obsession with death, and death came back and bit him on the ass. Awesome, awesome match. Loved it. So, night 2 ended with Vampiro on commentary saying he had to go. He had to go prepare his student, Pentagon Jr., for battle against the Monster Matanza. And guys, it just got me really, really excited for what was going to happen on night 3. And the show itself ended with Dario Cueto being confronted by Mr. Cisco, who was now working for officers Ricky Reyes, a.k.a. Cortez Castro, and Joey Ryan. They wired him up and basically said, get Dario to confess, and you're free. You'll be free of all charges. Cisco goes in. He says, hey, boss, whatever's going down, if you need help, I'm here for you. And Dario Cueto says, why would I need your help? And Cisco pretty much tells him, hey, man, I've been with you since day one. Whatever you're in, I want in. And Dario Cueto knew something was up. He knew something was up. So he asked Cisco straight up, are you wearing a wire? And Cisco says, no. But he says it in that concerned, feared look like, oh, shit, I'm busted. And what happens? Dario Cueto finds out he's got a wire. He grabs the wire and says, this is Dario Cueto. If you want me, come and get me. And then he asks Cisco, do they want me for murder? And Cisco says, I don't know. And then Dario Cueto says, they will now. And he bludgeons Cisco to death with that bull. You know that little bull he has on his table? He bludgeons Mr. Cisco to death with that thing. And Dario Cueto says, he talks to somebody on the phone and he says, it's time. So with the way that night 2 ended, with Cisco getting bludgeoned to death, Vampiro leaving to get ready to prepare Pentagon pretty much for the battle with Matanza and the matches that were yet to come, I got so pumped, guys, for night 3 of Ultima Lucha 2. I said to myself, if these past 2 nights have been great, then undoubtedly night 3 is going to be one hell of a conclusion to what's already been one hell of a night, one hell of a season finale for Lucha Underground Season 2 so far. And with that said, guys, we finally arrive to night 3, the 2-hour season finale. So after a lengthy recap of all the major events that happened throughout Season 2 that ultimately led to Ultima Lucha 2, we officially kick off the show, not with the match, but with the segment. And this was undoubtedly one of the best segments I've seen in Lucha Underground so far. And to me, this has to have been the best opening segment I've seen recently. So Vampiro and Pentagon Jr. are together. They're standing outside of a cave. And Vampiro tells Pentagon, I understand you want to slay the monster. I understand you're ready. You think you're ready, though, but I don't think you're ready. You are the man that embodies zero fear, cero miedo. However, you still have some fear in you. And if you are to slay the monster Matanza, you cannot slay him in the same form that you were. You have to be a different person. You have to be a different man in order to slay the monster. So he's basically telling Pentagon that he's got to change. He's got to unleash his dark side. He has to embrace the darkness. Hence why they're standing outside of a cave. So Vampiro instructs Pentagon to go into this cave, and once he comes out, he will become a different man. And I thought something supernatural was about to go down just because it's a dark cave. You never know what's in these dark caves. It was just like, it got me excited because I'm just, like I said, I thought it was going to be something kind of supernatural. Pentagon enters the cave and he sees different variations of himself. And he basically has to fight off all of them. That ultimately symbolizing what Vampiro was saying. You need to eliminate every last remnant of your old being that was broken and humiliated by the monster Matanza, and you need to become something deadlier, something more dangerous, something darker. And it was really, the way they shot this whole scene with Pentagon fighting off his different variations was great. It was very stylish, like something out of a martial arts movie. Pentagon lays out all the other Pentagons, and then there's one guy left wearing a Pentagon mask, and it's ultimately Vampiro. So Pentagon beats him down, and then Vampiro tells Pentagon, "Now you are ready, my student." And he presents Pentagon with a candle. And he says, "This candle represents who you are, Pentagon Jr. But you need to extinguish it because it is the last remnant of the fear you still have inside you. You need to eliminate, you need to extinguish this light, and you need to embrace the dark side." And with that said, he officially christened Pentagon Jr. as Pentagon Dark. And I loved it. That's what an awesome opening segment should do. Should establish a character or a key storyline or a feud, and the way they did it was awesome. And I love the whole idea of the candle representing, like, that's the light that would guide Pentagon Jr., but ultimately that also represents that little bit of fear that's still in him. He needs to extinguish it, and he needs to embrace his dark side in order to destroy and defeat the monster Matanza. I loved it, and I love Pentagon being rechristened Pentagon Dark. It was just freaking awesome. I would give that +5 just for how awesome that segment was. Now, getting into the wrestling portion of the show, we kicked it off with the Trios Championship match. The Worldwide Underground, Johnny Mundo, PJ Black, and Jack Evans defending their titles against Phoenix, Aerostar, and Drago, or as Vampiro billed them as, Fire, Space, and Fury. Love that name. I could really get used to that. Very fun, fast-paced opener. Right off the bat, fun action from the beginning. PJ Black and Drago mixed it up early on with PJ hitting the leg sweep and then a double foot stomp. Aerostar got the tag and hit PJ with a nice corkscrew off the top rope. Then the Worldwide Underground got together and they triple teamed Phoenix with a neck breaker. So Jack and PJ basically did like a double back suplex, and of course Johnny hit the neck breaker. Aerostar then hit a wicked super Mexican destroyer on Johnny Mundo. Phoenix followed it up with a frog splash. He then hit a 450, and both he and Aerostar pinned Johnny at the same time to use their leverage for an advantage, but Jack Evans pulled the referee out of the ring and laid him out, which allowed PJ Black to grab one of the Trios championships and attack all three members of Fire, Space, and Fury. I love saying that name, guys. I'm sorry. That is an awesome name. The Worldwide Underground, the other two members of Worldwide Underground then grabbed the other Trios titles, played some air guitar with them, and then clocked Phoenix with them all at once. And I thought the match was going to end right there because it's not like Phoenix got hit with one title. He got hit with 3 titles at once. You know, it's like a triple concerto, although a triple concerto is more effective. But Phoenix kicked out. After that, the Worldwide Underground hit him with a crucifixion backdrop, which is basically PJ and Jack have Phoenix up in a crucifixion position. Johnny runs like a football player, hits a tackle, and that's basically called the crucifixion backdrop. That's what Matt Striker called it, so that's what I'm going to call it. But then, out of nowhere came Angelico. And keep in mind, Angelico hasn't been seen for weeks since Dario Cueto revealed that he had an unfortunate accident and couldn't compete in that Trios Championship match where the Lucha Trinity ultimately walked out with the titles, that 4-team elimination match. So Angelico returns and attacks Johnny Mundo with his crutch to the point where he breaks the crutch over Johnny's back. Aerostar then hits a nice reverse 450 splash on a Jack Evans. Right after Drago hits a corkscrew splash on PJ Black on the outside because PJ was trying to prevent Aerostar from getting in offense while he and Jack were mixing it up on the apron. So wicked lucha libre right there, talking like Elmer Fudd, excuse me. And then with Johnny Mundo propped up on the apron, well, on the turnbuckle, I should say, Phoenix got him with a Phoenix driver and got the 1-2-3. Fire, Space, and Fury are your brand new Lucha Underground Trios champions. And with that victory, Phoenix becomes the first ever Lucha Underground Triple Crown champion. And I have to also believe he's the first ever Grand Slam champion because there's only 3 titles in Lucha Underground. Gift of the Gods, the Trios championships, and the Lucha Underground championships. So quite an accomplishment for Phoenix in one night, and I think it's very fitting that he and Drago and Aerostar won the championships on this night because Drago and Aerostar had their issues with PJ Black and Jack Evans throughout the season. Phoenix was assaulted by Johnny Mundo, which allowed him to replace Phoenix and team with Jack, I should say, and PJ to win the Trios championships from the Lucha Trinity. So Fire, Space, and Fury got redemption and vindication, and I loved it. And that's what I love about Lucha Underground. Their payoffs are always worth it. Their payoffs mean something, you know what I'm saying? And with Angelico returning, I could see a Johnny Mundo Angelico feud going. Now, I'm going to take this one step further. And considering the history with Jack Evans and Angelico, especially their time teaming up in AAA, I could see Angelico actually kicking Johnny. I could see this being like a plan. Like Johnny is being set up by the Worldwide Underground. They kick him out and they initiate Angelico into the trio. And wow, that'd be freaking awesome. I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm all for a Johnny Mundo Angelico feud, but I got a feeling that they may end up kicking Johnny out of the trio and replacing him with Angelico. Like they could have set him up the whole time. We'll see what happens. 3.25 stars. Very, very fun opener. Loved it. Great fast-paced action throughout. And again, congratulations to Fire, Space, and Fury. 3 great luchadores, with Phoenix becoming not only Triple Crown champion, but pretty much Grand Slam winner, winning with the victory and becoming Trios champion. Next, we had Black Lotus versus El Dragon Azteca Jr. I only gave this match 2 stars, guys, because it was a good, fun match while it lasted, because right when it started to pick up, Pentagon came out, and he attacked Dragon Azteca Jr. first, then Black Lotus. He broke both their arms, and that's pretty much where it ended. So I really can't go through many highlights of this match, but I will say this. What I liked was, because it was a grudge match, I like how the Dragon Azteca right off the bat went after Black Lotus. He like charging at her and tried to hit her with a drop kick into the corner, but he missed it. And for my first time personally seeing Black Lotus wrestle, because I remember her as Savannah from WWE ECW, I thought she did good for her first match, and I hope in season 3 we get to see more of her. We get to see her compete more in the ring. She did a cartwheel transition into a spinning head scissors. She did this really nice lucha libre style arm drag from the top rope. And that's pretty much it, guys, because like I said, there wasn't many other highlights in this match other than Dragon Azteca Jr. throwing Black Lotus violently into the wall and then throwing her back into the ring, going to the top rope for some high-risk move, and then getting attacked by Pentagon. And Pentagon broke both their arms. So that was pretty much it. But Pentagon's attack ultimately led into this next segment where he came out, donned in black, ultimately embodying his new change from Pentagon Jr. to Pentagon Dark. And he basically cut a promo saying, when I was beaten and broken by the monster Matanza, I was humiliated. But I have to thank my master, mi maestro Vampiro. He showed me the way. He showed me the light in the form of darkness. And he helped me become deadlier and more dangerous and darker than I've ever been. And as of today, Pentagon Jr. is dead. And you now are witnessing the birth and arrival of Pentagon Dark. And he is still Cero Miedo. And with that said, he demanded that Matanza come out because he wanted to fight Matanza. And this match went next. And I was totally surprised that this match went next. Although with the other main event still to come, I honestly could have seen either of these matches main event in the show. So Dario Cueto leads Matanza to the ring, and we have our Lucha Underground Championship match. Matanza defending against the newly christened Pentagon Dark. Pentagon Dark, for the first half of this match, guys, beat the hell out of Matanza. He started the match with a flipping senton over the top rope. He then drilled Matanza with a Death Valley driver onto the floor. He grabbed a chair and whacked Matanza with it twice, including one shot to the head. And throughout the match, he was landing super kicks and kicks to the leg and open palm chops to the chest. He was just beating the hell out of Matanza. And I honestly thought, guys, he was going to go Brock Lesnar SummerSlam 2014 on Matanza. I thought Matanza was not going to get a single bit of offense in throughout this match, because you know Matanza's a monster, but he was getting the crap kicked out of him by this darker and, you know, more dangerous Pentagon, and I freaking loved it that he's donned in all black like something out of a comic book or a martial arts movie. And what also made this match great was Vampiro's commentary, because it seems like when Pentagon Dark came out, Vampiro's dark side came out too. And he was on commentary, and he was correcting Matt Striker all the time, most of the time, because, you know, Matt Striker kept calling him Pentagon Jr., and Vampiro kept saying it's Pentagon Dark. And at one point, he's like, don't make me tell you again, it's Pentagon Dark. And he, like, you saw concern throughout Dario Cueto, because he knows if his brother keeps taking this beating, his brother could lose the Lucha Underground Championship. And Vampiro's like, man, I wish some guy would shut him up. And, like, I love Vampiro's commentary. It was so dark. It was so awesome. It played perfect. It accompanied this match perfectly. I was about to say contributed, but it accompanied this match perfectly. Getting back to highlights, Pentagon hit a backstabber. He then wedged a chair into one of the turnbuckles, and here's where Matanza actually got back on the offense. So Pentagon tries to throw Matanza face first into the chair. Matanza manages to stop himself in his tracks, counters, and throws Pentagon head first into the chair, and then Matanza starts taking over with offense. He hits a standing moonsault, then a standing shooting star press. I forgot if he caught Pentagon, but he hit this modified Wrath of the Gods, which wasn't as devastating, but it was still a good move. Pentagon rebounded and hit a Mexican Destroyer, and then this is where the difference maker ultimately came into play. Vampiro pulls out a barbed wire baseball bat, and he hands it to Pentagon Dark. And Pentagon's about to whack Matanza with it, and Dario Cueto intervenes. Pentagon knocks down Dario, and he's preparing to break Dario's arm, but then Matanza hits him with the barbed wire baseball bat, crushes him with Wrath of the Gods, and scores the 1-2-3 to retain the Lucha Underground Championship. Now, I thought this match was great, but I was a little disappointed in the end with the ending, because throughout this season, they built Pentagon up as like their next like face of the company, so to speak. They're building him up so strong, man. Like, he is undoubtedly one of the best performers in that company, and he is undoubtedly the most over guy in that company. So he comes out with this new incarnation, Pentagon Dark, which I'm so excited to see. And you think that because he's darker, he's dangerous, he's more violent, that he's going to ultimately beat the monster. And he didn't. And, you know, Vampiro was shocked, and he felt bad because he tried to help his student, and his one attempt to help his student ultimately cost his student the match. So he was disappointed. You could tell by his voice as he called the next match. But once again, the Monster Matanza comes out the victor, comes out strong, and you got to give Lucha Underground credit for that. They make their champions relevant. They make their champions strong. So, yes, I would have preferred Pentagon got the win, but again, Matanza looks strong. And the crowd was not happy. The crowd was chanting bullshit, and I understand why they were chanting that. But in the end, Matanza is now Lucha Underground. Well, he remains Lucha Underground champion, ends Season 2 as the champion, and if Sexy Star cashes in her Gift of the Gods championship against Matanza, oh, man, that's not going to go well. That's going to be ugly. But I know Sexy Star's a fighter. It's just going to be interesting to see if they actually do Sexy Star and Matanza. Could Sexy Star knock off Matanza? That's going to be crazy if that actually happens. And after the match, you know, Vampiro attempted to console Pentagon, and Pentagon pushed him aside, and he was just upset. And like I said, I could understand why he's upset, because he lost the match. His mentor, his maestro, tried to help him, and it backfired. So, like I said, guys, I was a little disappointed with the end result, but the match I thought was still great. And like I said, it makes Matanza strong. He ends the season strong as the champion. And ultimately, the Vampiro Pentagon Dark relationship, well, let's just say at the end of the night, it would take a turn no one expected. I'm just going to say that. So, moving on, disappointments aside, we move on to the next match, which was Taya versus Ivelisse, the perfect woman versus the baddest bitch. And this was a good, fun women's match. You could really feel the tension between these two in this match. Taya hit this nice modified DDT onto one of the seats in the crowd. Ivelisse rebounded with some martial arts kicks to Taya's chest, followed by a wicked super kick. Taya attempted to throw Ivelisse into the wall, but Ivelisse managed to jump onto the railing and hit a crossbody from the crowd. Ivelisse then hit a release German suplex back inside the ring and followed it up with a sunset flip powerbomb. And as she went for the pin, the lights went out and you started to hear electricity crackle. And when the lights came back on, the referee is gone, and behind Ivelisse is none other than Catarina. And Catarina drills Ivelisse with a forearm, gets her into position for the rampage, and then drills her in this driver-like move. It was so sick. I think the Lexman called it a butterfly lock driver. So I call it a rampage because she had Ivelisse in position for the rampage, but then she sat down and drilled her while still having her in that rampage position. It was a sick, sick move. Catarina left her mark. Lights went out again and then came back on. Catarina freaking teleports to the top of Dario Cueto's office. Referee returns to the ring. Taya then hits her Northern Lights suplex and transitions into the double knee stomp for the win. Taya leaves not only the perfect woman, but now I guess you could say the new baddest bitch in the temple. No disrespect to Ivelisse. I love Ivelisse, but it looks like Taya has taken over. And then the lights go out one more time. Catarina returns to the ring with a mic in her hand. She picks up Ivelisse and says, "Death comes to everyone, especially you, bitch. Lick of death, game over." I was like, damn. Catarina is awesome. And I think she just had her breakout moment right there. I mean, she's been a great on-screen personality since season 1. But I feel like here at Ultima Lucha, though, she had her breakout moment. And they've been building Ivelisse versus Catarina for ever since season 1. And now we just got, oh my God, like the build just took a whole new turn. So you have to believe during season 3, they're going to finally meet. And if they've been building it this long, there better be some badass, awesome payoff. I can only imagine what is going to happen when they finally get into the ring. I'm looking forward to seeing Catarina wrestle. I mean, keep in mind, guys, this is the same woman who was on NXT as Maxine. I think she was the original anti-diva before Paige. And she didn't do much on NXT. And now look at her. She is one of the faces of Lucha Underground. She's one of the most over characters on Lucha Underground. And I think she just became the breakout star of this season in the sense of she just had her breakout moment. You know what I'm saying? So, good, fun women's match between Ivelisse and Taya. But the Ivelisse-Catarina feud, wow, it just turned a whole new corner with what Catarina did, leaving her mark like that. And I can't wait to see these two women mix it up during season 3. I won't be surprised if they actually do this at Ultima Lucha 3. Like, it's got to be a Street Fight or something, considering their bad blood. So I'm excited to see this feud continue going on to season 3. And lastly, guys, we get to the main event. The dream match. The Prince versus El Rey. The Prince versus the King. El Príncipe contra El Rey, however you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it, guys. Prince Puma versus Rey Mysterio Jr. Guys, this was a fantastic match. This embodied what Lucha Libre was all about. and what it still is all about. I mean, let me put it to you this way. You have Prince Puma, a.k.a. Ricochet, one of the best young wrestlers out there, versus Rey Mysterio Jr., the king of Lucha Libre, one of the greatest of his generation, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. What a match this was. What a way to end Ultima Lucha Dos. I mean, this was the match I was the most excited for. This match was awesome. Early on, Puma countered Rey's head scissors attempt with this nice code breaker to the sternum. Puma then went for an electric chair drop, but Rey countered with a head scissors over the top rope. But then Puma lands on his feet with Rey still on his shoulders. That was sick. He turns Rey around, and Rey counters with the Hurricane Rana into the ring apron. Back inside the ring, Rey goes for his signature top rope senton, and he connects. He then hits the sick tilt-a-whirl DDT. He hit a modified 619 and went for a Lita Kanrana, but Puma caught him and drilled him with a Northern Lights suplex and then transitioned into a brainbuster. Sick 1-2 combination there. Back inside the ring. Puma and Rey fought on the top turnbuckle. Rey ended up drilling Puma with the reverse Hurricane Rana. He went for the wheelbarrow bulldog, but Puma countered with a double knee backbreaker and then followed it up with a wicked blue thunderbomb. Sami Zayn, I love you and all, but eat your heart out. Puma then connected with a spinning roundhouse kick, which knocked Rey into the middle rope and positioned him for the 619. Puma then hit the 619 or the 323, which is the area code of Boyle Heights, and then hit a nice, awesome 450 springboard 450 splash. And it wasn't like he hit it. Puma had some I don't want to say he had some distance, but he was quite okay. Let me reword this, guys. He got air on that move because he wasn't right next to Rey. Rey was almost near the middle of the ring, so how he hit it was just freaking awesome. Puma then hit his patented GTS with the feet. So, when he goes for the GTS, throws the guy up and then kicks him with the feet. But then he missed his 630, and Rey caught him with a spike Hurricane Rana in the front. Rey then hit an Enzugiri and went for the 619, but Puma caught him and went for another code breaker to the sternum, but then Rey hit him with another spike Hurricane Rana, and this one was a little more devastating than the earlier one. Rey then got Puma into position for the 619, hit the 619, then followed it up with a West Coast pop for the victory. Rey Mysterio comes out on top. I honestly have no problem with Rey beating Puma because, guys, like I said, it was an incredible match. It embodied what Lucha Libre is all about. I honestly thought Puma would have won because it's, like I said, the Prince versus the King. He could have become the new king of Lucha Libre. He could have become King Puma, which would have been really awesome. But, guys, I have no complaints because this was a phenomenal and fantastic wrestling match. Lucha Libre at its best. And in my opinion, this was not only the match of the match of the night, but the match of the entire show. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this was the best match in Lucha Underground so far. 4 3/4 stars, almost a near 5-star classic, guys. Just an incredible match. If you have not seen this match, if there's only one match you watch from Ultima Lucha Dos, this is the match to watch. Of course, go check out the whole 3 nights of this event. But if there's only one match you watch, one match that when you're done watching it, you'll walk away and say, that's why I'm a wrestling fan, it's Prince Puma versus Rey Mysterio Jr. That match was just phenomenal. And like I said, guys, match of the night, match of the entire event, and in my opinion, the best match of not only Lucha Underground this year, but of Lucha Underground in its 2 seasons so far. Just incredible. Thank you, Puma, and thank you, Rey. And I want to make sure I get this in because this was very important. After the match, Puma shook Rey's hand. He picked him up, shook his hand. They embraced one another. They congratulated one another. And Rey told Puma, this ring and the 323 is yours. And he left Puma in the ring. He walked, I don't want to say walked away. He exited the ring. There you go. He exited the ring, and like a sportsman, he left the ring. He left Puma in the ring to take in all the admiration and cheers from the believers, because ultimately Prince Puma, when you think Lucha Underground in the 323, you could pretty much say that Puma is the face of Lucha Underground and the 323. So how fitting was that the king of Lucha Libre ultimately bestows his blessing, so to speak, upon the Prince of Lucha Libre and leaves him to be in his ring where he is admired by the believers. That's great sign of respect, great sportsmanship. Freaking loved it. And honestly, guys, it looked like Ultima Lucha Dos was going to end on that very positive note with that beautiful moment right there. And then this happened. As Matt Striker and Vampiro are congratulating everyone who was a part of Lucha Underground Season 2 and thanking the believers and everyone who watched Season 2 for making the season as awesome as it was, out comes Pentagon Dark, who assaults Vampiro and super kicks Matt Striker, and then proceeds to bloody and batter Vampiro with that barbed wire bat. It was a very sickening and chilling sight, but to me, guys, it ultimately embodied what Pentagon Dark is all about. This right here stamped why he is now more dangerous and deadlier than ever. You think Pentagon Jr. was dangerous? Pentagon Dark? This is a whole other story, guys. He just beats the hell out of Vampiro, bloodies him with that barbed wire bat. He batters him. He bathes himself in Vampiro's blood, and then like a sick son of a bitch licks the blood. He licks Vampiro's blood. It was sickening. It was chilling. It was awesome. That's why Pentagon Jr. is one of the most enigmatic characters on Lucha Underground. Did I call him Pentagon Jr.? I apologize. I'm still getting used to the name. But yeah, that's why Pentagon is one of the most over characters on the show. You never know what this guy's going to do. He's freaking unpredictable. And after that savage beating, he grabs the mic and he says, Vampiro, mi maestro, it's so funny how things can change within the span of 1 year. 1 year ago, at Ultima Lucha 1, you revealed yourself to the world as my maestro. You said I was ready. You said I was your son. 1 year later, you are now battered, bloodied, broken, and humiliated at my feet. So now, guess what? I'm the master. I'm the new maestro. And when he said that, guys, I was like, wow. This is going to get really freaking good come Season 3. I can only imagine if Pentagon Dark is now the new master, he's the new maestro, what is going to happen with him and Vampiro? Their relationship on the show is awesome. They're perfect for each other because they're both dark individuals. And now Pentagon just took his darkness to a whole new level. And like the Lex Man said, once you go to the dark side, once you embrace your dark side, you don't come back. There's no going back. So now, whoever comes across Pentagon Dark, may God have mercy on your soul, because you are going to face a being who is darker, deadlier, and more violent than he has ever been before. And honestly, I'm going to say one more thing before I go on to my final thought. When Pentagon said Vampiro was not the master anymore, I was thinking, oh my God, did he align himself with Dario Cueto? Like, I was just expecting Dario Cueto to walk out and reveal that he is now Pentagon's maestro. Because think about it. If Dario Cueto had Matanza and Pentagon Dark at his side, Dario Cueto would be pretty much untouchable. He would run that temple with an iron fist and a monster and a man that embodies the dark and zero fear. Like, that would have been freaking crazy. But then when he revealed himself to be the new master, I was like, that is awesome. That's why I love this guy. That's why he's in my top 5 favorite Lucha Underground performers. Pentagon Dark, I feel like the first season established him as a badass. The second season established him as even more of a badass. And now with him becoming Pentagon Dark and the new master, it's just going to skyrocket him. Not saying he's not already popular, but I feel like this is going to take him to a whole new level. And I feel like in Season 3, he's going to stamp himself as probably the new face of Lucha Underground. We have to wait and see. But guys, with that segment, one final segment played out. The final shot of the show. The final segment of the whole Ultima Lucha Dos event. Dario Cueto gets arrested. He's handcuffed. He's escorted out by officers and placed into the back of a van. And as the van drives off and the lights are flashing, the final shot of the season, Has Dario Cueto with his head down. And then he slowly starts to bring his head up. And he flashes that Dario Cueto grin. Indicated he's not done yet. He's not going down that easy. And I can only imagine what's going to happen when he gets busted out of jail, busted out of that van, whatever, in Season 3. Because keep in mind, he has a higher power that was never revealed. They teased it, but they never revealed who his higher power is. So I got to believe that guy, the higher power, whoever he is going to break Dario Cueto out. And then Dario's going to really start taking stuff to a new level. I mean, I love it. I was honestly expecting some car to crash into that van and break Dario out, and then we find out who the new higher power is or who his higher power has been all along. But just that grin that he flashed at the end with the words "to be continued" followed after that. Oh my God, man. Season 3 is just going to be... Woo, I cannot wait, guys. That's what I love about Lucha Underground. They leave you coming back for more. And with Season 2 over, can we just start Season 3 now? But here's the best part. Season 3 is going to begin soon. I think in October or November. So we don't have to wait that long. But until then, guys, Ultima Lucha 2, awesome event. Best show of the summer so far. Best show of the year so far. And the best Ultima Lucha event that Lucha Underground has put on. 9.5 out of 10. I mean, guys, like I said, if you haven't seen this show yet, go back and watch this entire show. This was just wrestling at its best. It was awesome. I loved it. Really not a bad match on this card. Even the Black Lotus, Dragon Azteca Jr. match, even though it ended in a DQ, was a good, fun match. Every match was good and fun, and you just enjoyed watching them from start to finish. So with that said, guys, it's now time for me to give you my final thought on Lucha Underground Season 2. I can best describe Lucha Underground Season 2 in 3 words. Bigger, badder, and better. Season 1 was great. And if you guys remember, I tuned in very late to Lucha Underground Season 1. I did play some catch-up, eventually watched from late into the season until Ultima Lucha 1, and loved it. It was something fresh. It was something new. It was something hot. And it was just taking the wrestling world by storm. And it garnered buzz little by little. And we were all wondering, would Lucha Underground return for Season 2? And they did. And Season 2, guys, was just awesome. If Season 1 put Lucha Underground on the map, Season 2 took it to a whole new level. It raised its credibility and everything to a higher level. You know, it elevated it to the top of the premier wrestling brands. I mean, you had great storytelling, great storylines, great feuds, of course, great matches every week. And of course, you had great characters and wrestlers. With the new influx of talent like Rey Mysterio Jr., Taya, El Dragon Azteca Jr., Cobra Moon, Daga, Nightclaw, PJ Black, you know, all this new talent who came and just helped make Lucha Underground bigger and badder and better. I mean, I loved it. And then you had familiar faces returning, like Mil Muertes, Katrina, Eva Lee, Son of Havoc, Angelico, Phoenix, Prince Puma, Pentagon, Johnny Mundo, Jack Evans, Drago, Aerostar. You had all your favorites return. You had a new batch of superstars return. It was just awesome. Season 2 was undoubtedly the best season of Lucha Underground so far. It was a stellar follow-up. You had, like I said, great matches, great storylines, great feuds, and you have storylines and feuds that now transition over into Season 3 to continue. It's just awesome, guys. And how can I forget, speaking of new faces, Matanza. What a debut this dude had at Aztec Warfare 2. He comes in and eliminates more than half a dozen guys in that match and ultimately beats Rey Mysterio to win the Lucha Underground Championship. And this guy, only 2 guys in the entire roster who faced him came close to beating him, like really beating him decisively. And those were Cage and Mil Muertes. Even Pentagon Dark, you know, came close, but not close enough to beat the monster. And I mean, Matanza was just awesome. this season. And I want to give a special shout out to my friends Melissa and Jeff, who got to wrestle for Lucha Underground, and they just killed it as their respective characters. They just killed it this season on Lucha Underground. And, you know, I loved how we saw the progression and build-up of other characters, you know, like Marty the Moth and the debut of Mariposa and Killshot. I love how other wrestlers got their chance to shine and had breakout moments. Lucha Underground Season 2 just delivered and delivered and delivered, and this is why it is one of, if not the premier wrestling brand in the United States. I mean, Lucha Underground, what can I say negative about this company, guys? It's freaking awesome. If you're tired of WWE doing the same things with their politics and 20-minute segments opening up Raw, and, you know, you want to see blood and you want to see new you want to see new stars made, and you want to see compelling storylines and everything, then Lucha Underground is for you. Yes, I'm a loyal WWE fan, but Lucha Underground takes it to new levels. You know what I'm saying? And I said this last year at the end of Ultima Lucha 1. If you don't want to see segments with the Authority coming out for 20 minutes talking, and you don't want to see the same matches over and over again, and you want to see blood, and you want to see fresh concepts, fresh matchups, fresh feuds, tune into Lucha Underground. If you're new to Lucha Underground, go onto iTunes and watch every single episode of Season 1 and Season 2. You will not be disappointed with what you see, because Lucha Underground is taking the world by storm. And with Season 3, I can only imagine it's going to be just as good or even better than Season 2. And I'm hearing rumors that it's the best season so far. So we're going to have to wait and see what goes down. And I'm excited because there are so many storylines, so many feuds that need resolution come Season 3. And we're going to see what happens. Lucha Underground, to everyone who works over at Lucha Underground, writing staff and producers, directors, thank you very much for giving us one hell of a wrestling product. This is a product I'm proud to say I watch, and it makes me proud to be a wrestling fan. I just want to say to everybody on the Lucha Underground staff, thank you for one hell of a season. Thank you for a stellar follow-up season to Season 1. Matt Striker and Vampiro, best commentary duo out there. Melissa Santos, girl, I've said it before, I love you. You are the best ring announcer out there. Continue to do your thing, and I hope eventually you do get the call to go to WWE and NXT. And to all the great wrestlers out there who made Season 2 memorable. Matanza, Rey Mysterio Jr., Phoenix, Dragon Azteca Jr., Prince Puma, Pentagon. Thank you all for making this season just a stellar season. A fantastic follow-up to Season 1 of Lucha Underground. It was awesome. To all the new faces I became fans of, like Taya, Daga, Nightclaw. To familiar faces who I became even more fans of, Eva Elise, Katarina, Angelico, Son of Havoc, Prince Puma. You guys are awesome. You guys deserve to come back for another season after Season 3. Guys, I can't say it enough. If you haven't seen Lucha Underground, go watch it from the beginning. Like I said, you will not be disappointed. Play catch up. You still have time until I think October or November to be caught up before November. Watch Ultima Lucha 1. Watch Ultima Lucha 2. And take in the gift that is Lucha Underground. So that will do it for my review, guys, of Ultima Lucha 2 and ultimately Lucha Underground Season 2. If you sat through this entire review, thank you very much. I know this is quite a long review. I should have put a disclaimer at the beginning saying it's going to go a while. You know, make yourself at home, grab some snacks, grab a drink or two, just enjoy the ride. But if you sat through this whole thing, I thank you very much. Thank you for watching and listening. Do me a favor, share this video with your friends. Tweet me back if you watched this whole thing and use the hashtag WatchedItAll. So, guys, leave your comments down below. Like, comment, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. Tell me what you thought of Lucha Underground Season 2. What were your favorite matches from this season? What was your favorite match or matches from Ultima Lucha 2? What feud or feuds are you looking forward to seeing in Season 3? Who do you hope returns for Season 3? Who do you hope makes their debut or makes their arrival to the temple in Season 3? Because with how popular Lucha Underground is getting and how fast their popularity has grown, dude, the door is open for new luchadors and other popular wrestlers to leave their mark in Dario Cueto's temple. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching and listening. And like I said, thank you to everybody at Lucha Underground who made this season a fantastic follow-up to season 1. Awesome season from start to finish. Never a dull moment. Great matches throughout. You know, I may make a video talking about my favorite matches from season 2, the best matches of Lucha Underground so far from season 1 to season 2. But guys, just go out there, watch Lucha Underground, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed. There are some that don't like Lucha Underground. That's okay. It may not be your thing. But if you want a fresh wrestling product, you want a wrestling product that's going to leave you just asking for more, tune into Lucha Underground. Thank you again to everybody at Lucha Underground for this awesome season. Thank you all for watching and listening. This is Robbie One Kenobi signing off. Thanks again for watching and listening. And Lucha Underground, I'll see you all in season 3. Lucha!